main page. All right, so if you need to book an appointment, it's right here under contact us. You can call us, you can text us, you can schedule. And we're gonna ask you for a little bit of information. Your instructor, your due date, your preferred times. Down here is where it's really important, where it's a description of your assignment, including any special requirements, like you have to have 5 academic sources. That's important for us to know because we'll search a little bit differently if we're looking for an academic source. And just know what you've done so far. The number one thing to know about research, you are not going to type in a string of words and magically everything you want will show up. I have a master's degree that's basically a master's in finding stuff on the internet. And
cool.
I still get stuck. Yeah, I go, right? I still get stuck. I have to go back and start over. So you might get frustrated at some point, and that's completely normal. And that's kind of the fun part about research is you're searching and you're researching. You're going back in and you're honing your ideas and you're finding. You know what you've done. There's no right or wrong answers. You can say I'm overwhelmed. I haven't done anything. You can say I've found these things, but I'm stuck. But just give us some indication on what we can help you with. Okay? So that's going to be important as we go forward. If you're like too much, and you can also say, hey, slow down. Go over that again. I don't mind. All right, so guide. I'm making one for your class, but it's not done yet, and I'll just email you the link. But this is our lovely Andrea Kincaid, who has been out with surgery and not feeling very well, but she's your liaison librarian, and she's awesome. But I am here in the evening. So I'm using her general psychology guide to kind of give you an idea of what it's gonna look like. And basically what I'll put on your guide, I'll put databases, tips, anything I talk about today, you can always go, this is gonna be your home base. So if you get stuck, if you need help, you're gonna go to your course guide. And I'll send that to you by Sunday. So
Thank you.
all right, and you also, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about APA citations very briefly because that comes at the end, okay? So have y'all taken like your English courses? Mm-hmm. And you've probably done MLA. You haven't yet? Okay.
I'm in an awkward position where I've got Comp 2 finished, but not Comp 1.
Oh, that's interesting. But you patients, right?
Yeah, but not APA.
Okay. APA, same information, just organized a little bit differently. So we have a link on the guide that has some tools on how to cite your sources. But I'm going to tell you the best people to help with APA as you're writing and as you're putting together your works cited page is the Writing Center upstairs. They're going to be like your favorite people.
Who in here has gone to the Writing Center upstairs? All right, so a few of you have already been up.
Okay, we've talked about research appointments, we've talked about the guide, citations, the Writing Center. Okay, now we're going to get to the fun part. How many of you are familiar with Wikipedia? About cars. But I can go in there and I can write about cars, all right? However, that doesn't mean you can't use Wikipedia when you're starting your research, okay? Have you ever been sitting at home watching TV and somebody's like, what was that, who was that actor in? I go to Wikipedia or IMDb and I'm like, oh, this is what they were in. It's great for discovering really quick information that you then want to verify. So what we're gonna do is we're going to use Wikipedia for a little bit. Everyone's like,
Blasphemy.
no, you can't use. You can use Wikipedia as a tool. Don't cite it in your papers. It'll make your professor sad and your grade will be sad. But you can use it as a tool to discover the words you need to find sources. And we also have a better than Wikipedia source. We have Credo reference, and I'm going to show you that. But sometimes people get confused if you use something in the library and Credo reference is like an encyclopedia. It's like basic information, dates, names, things like that. It won't count as one of your 5 sources. So I'm going to show you both, but I'm totally going to let you use Wikipedia, which is controversial, but I can do that because nobody else is here. All right, so I've made a little tool. Well, I didn't make, actually Andrew made this, and I'm going to use it because it's the best place. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Wikipedia, and I'm going to show you Credo reference, and we're going to use that to do keywords. So when you go to Google, and I need to know something randomly on Google, I just start typing things. It seems to know what I've wanted. It'll pop up with like popular searches. I can just put whatever whatever word I want to use, and it will find me something. It may not be the thing I'm looking for.
Google seems to want you to know what you're looking for, though.
Yeah, it will. And sometimes I'm surprised by the things it comes up with, like under the bar, and I'm like, I don't.
That's interesting.
I'm disturbed that people are searching for that. I've never.
Oh, I love Google
So,
how it auto finishes.
So,
it's
so
hilarious.
Google is fun with that. Library databases and library use is going to be very important. So we're going to go over some ways to make sure we're searching effectively in our databases. And to do that, we need to come up with the right terminology, okay? And this is going to be kind of a trial and error process. You may find some words related to your topic and they just don't work. We can mix them up, we can put them with different things, we can think of synonyms, we're going to explore coming up with keywords because that's going to be important when we start searching in databases. Entering Wikipedia. Nobody take my degree from me. Okay. So I'm just going to go blind. How many of y'all have thought of a topic, a country, a culture, an event? Yes.
Oh, you wanted to.
If anybody wants to share, what we're going to do is we're going to use one of your examples and actually do the search. And I'm going to show you how it's kind of like a start, stop, think about it process. We're going to come up with keywords. Does anybody have anything they want to share? If not, I have a culture or historical event, but also everything you've learned in your class about human development. Okay, so that's going to be important.
But I think the most important thing tonight is identifying a culture or a time frame or
Right.
something specific to start
Specific
from
to
there.
start
Yeah.
to start researching. Okay, so I'm in Halloween mode, even though it's like 90 billion degrees and it's not October yet because I'm one of those people. So I'm going to look up the Salem witch trials because why about that? Okay, so I'm in Wikipedia, and when we scroll down through here, and y'all can feel free to follow up here, but if it works better, if it's easier to see on the Chromebook, you can totally follow along there. Whatever works best for you.
Prep Rubric has our Chromebook.
So, okay, so
Not a big
this
deal.
article actually looks fairly good. I still don't want to cite it in my paper, but you see all these hyperlinked things? Those will go down to the works cited. But let's stop and look right here. This section needs additional citations for verification. This is why we don't want to cite it in our paper, because they have some things in here that may or may not be true, may be biased, but they haven't provided their source. So that's why you get points off usually if you use Wikipedia.
It's always fun when people change Wikipedia because of their like ideologies and stuff, and you
Oh,
get
yeah.
like back and forth fights between people.
Right, in here. Okay, witch cake. I don't know anything about witch cake, but I'm intrigued, okay?
Sounds yummy.
That's what I was thinking.
So
Pastries.
it's talking about different afflictions. We've got some names here. Does anyone know anything about Salem witch trials? Off the top of your head?
Only from watching The Crucible.
Okay, well that's very good. It's very good. It'll come down here in literature and popular culture. See lists of people executed for witchcraft. We can see the trials. And I'm really intrigued by this witchcraft in children. You might find stuff in there. And here are the sources. What I'm going to do when I look through this is I'm going to think about, I'm going to take my sheet here, and I'm going to think about my assignment. Okay, so our assignment is right now we're going to explore a culture or a historical event, okay? Because we're gonna do a project, right? So what do we want? I want to write about Salem witch trials. So I want you to write down what you're thinking about writing about. And you can change it. You may start researching and be like, this is not what I want to do, or I want to narrow it down. But right now I just want you to think what it is you're thinking about. And we're going to explore. You don't have to be married to anything.
Last week we talked a little bit about co-sleeping and co-sleeping in different cultures.
Oh, okay. That's
you know,
really cool.
In comparison to American culture.
Right.
Because I used to go to grad school with a girl from China, and she was like, that was expected.
Exactly.
In 1914, you know? So
I have
think
a
that's
friend
really
from
interesting.
Guatemala, and they talk a lot about wearing their babies, like out in the field, and kind of strapping them in like those little movie wraps, and carrying their babies more. And that's different than, I did that with my kids a lot, but different people do different things. But in their culture, that's kind of
A lot of modern culture seems to have a very hands-off approach. Don't touch the baby. Put it in a carrier. Put it in a bassinet.
right,
Put it in.
right. And so you can look at, you know, a culture if you want to look at.
Cradle boards. Have you seen a cradle board with the native culture?
Oh yeah, like on the back, yeah, those are cool. So kind of group think. So I did a little bit of preliminary research since I had to stand up in front of the room and talk to you all. And so I was interested in how teen girls were thought of. Kind of when we think about, you know, I have a teenager and the influence of her peers is interesting as a parent. So that's a way to, if you're going to explore Salem witch trials, you can look at that. You could look at family structures. You could look at the way the community was formed. You could look at the influence of religion maybe on some of this stuff. So
Really broad.
really broad.
They can do whatever they want.
See?
I mean,
That's kind of cool.
I love free
I
reign.
want you to really think of something that really interests you.
Right. Okay. So when I'm in Wikipedia, I'm just going to find out some basic things about. I kind of know the time period. I know, you know, New England area. I've got some basic information. So what I'm going to do is, this is actually a very in-depth article, so I'm going to put, okay. When I just do Control F and search on the word I'm looking for, which is a shortcut, if you're reading an academic article, you should read most of all of it if you're using it in your paper. But if I really kind of am interested in teenagers. So this tells me the trials were started after people being accused of witchcraft, primarily by teenage girls such as Elizabeth Hubbard. That gives me a name. That could be correct information. That could be incorrect information. But I have a name. Teenagers might have had some play in these accusations. So I'm going to drag this over here and try not to, because I want you all to be able to see it. So we're going to look at this concept cloud, which is the third. And I'm going to get y'all to, just be prepared, I'm going to get y'all to give me an example here in a minute. We're going to do one of your examples. So I need to think of some words that I can look in databases for research and information. So I don't use the Wikipedia article and make an F, because that'd be quite sad. All right. So I looked at teenager. That's a word we could use, right? So let's look at our concept cloud. I'm thinking about teenagers, and I'm going to use the example of the Salem witch trial. Now, in your little concept, because y'all have such free reign with this, everyone's is going to look a little bit different, okay? Don't feel like, well, I don't have two things in my main idea box, okay?
That's a little circle in the center,
So this
right?
little circle, that's your main idea. That's the thing if you were thinking about cradle boards, or you were thinking about co-sleeping, or you were thinking about Salem witch trials, teenagers.
Can our central idea be a lot broader than that, since we're supposed to hit
can
on
be-
all aspects of
It can
lifetime
be broader,
development? Okay.
because what we're going to do is put some words, things down as we research.
Gotcha.
Because you'll start really broad, and you may have 20 billion things pop up, and you're going to go, I don't have time to read 20 billion things, so we'll narrow down. So I like to start a little bit broad, because we're just exploring things here. This doesn't necessarily have to be our topic. We can't go back from this sheet of paper. It's been written down, set in stone, okay? So in your main idea box, you're going to put whatever it is the thing that you're interested in, okay? So I'm going to give you all a second to think and write that in your little, there's different things in the corner of each of these little concept clouds, okay? We've got people, kinds of people, places, dates, synonyms. We don't have to necessarily put all of that stuff, but we're gonna put different words, okay? So I've got Salem witch trials here. From reading that article, I'm thinking of things like hysteria. I hope I spell everything correctly. I don't know how to spell when I'm being filmed. Just pretend you're Google and you understand. All right. Teenage. also interesting if you're thinking about it from like how women who are smart or different or do different things are being thought of.
Puritarian Christianity.
Christianity. What are some concepts from your modules that I'm not, you know, that's y'all's area of expertise. We've got an age group here. What have y'all talked about in your modules so far? What have y'all done? Huh? This is the first day. This is the first day. All right.
Fetal development up to infancy.
What have
That's
we
all.
done for 3 weeks?
It's a blank slate.
Fetal development to infancy.
Infancy. Okay. I heard someone say parenting.
Is crying okay for the baby?
Is crying okay for the baby? Yeah.
Emotional development, physical development,
Right. So we've got,
cognitive development.
we can think about physical health.
Motor skills. What the baby learned in Euro.
So now I'm going to show alternative words, okay? Because when we're searching, I may search on Salem witch trial in teenagers and not come up with much at all. So what's another word for teenager?
Adolescent.
Adolescent.
When I looked up the Black Plague, it pulled up bubonic.
Bubonic. So if we were doing the
They're
Black
synonymous.
Plague, we might put bubonic under there.
Yosemite
So on your
pestis.
concept cloud, you'll put,
Under the cinnamon.
yeah, or you can put it under there since that's your main idea. Family structures. Chaos.
Patriarchal for parenting.
Patriarchal. Okay. Witches. Physical health. We can do illness. Do religion. We could do church.
Puritan.
Puritan. See?
Puritan.
Puritan. Okay, I've got that. So this is how we're gonna kind of grow this for a minute about different words you can use, and I'm just gonna be here if you need some help troubleshooting. Then we'll workshop one on the board. Child development field who pops up constantly. You might want to put that person's name. Okay. Key text that might come up if you're looking at something like co-sleeping, organizations like a pediatric association, things like that. And those are all things you can put. We're not necessarily going to use all of these, but this is going to kind of help us have kind of a fertile breeding ground for ideas. I just happened to land on this co-sleeping was much more fertile than the Salem witch trials, which is intriguing, but not as many good words. All right, so I skipped down. I've got co-sleeping and bed sharing. I skipped down to cultural factors in this Wikipedia article. And it says several studies show that the prevalence of co-sleeping is a result of cultural preference. In a study of 19 nations, a trend emerged depicting a widely accepted practice of co-sleeping in Asian, African, and Latin American countries, while European and North American countries rarely practiced it.
That's true.
That lovely people who did this article, they've put a citation. So it's a 2010 article, Cross-Cultural Differences in Infant and Toddler Sleep from Sleep Medicine, and it's got the DOI, which is kind of like the address of the article, where it lives when we keep track of articles as they're digitized. It's got the volume, it's got the pages. This is an academic article. So Wikipedia has given me a source that I can go find in the library database, or I can place an interlibrary loan request, and I've got my first source for my project. Now, if it didn't have this little citation here, or it said something like Joe's blog about sleep, would we use it for a source?
No.
No, we just... I like to think of Wikipedia like a dating app. You know, you're gonna kind of look at it critically and see, you know, does this seem legit or not? We want to swipe left if there's no citations. You're gonna just swipe left. We're not gonna even entertain it at all. It's a no.
Isn't that called Tinder?
Yes. We're gonna.
No.
This is we're just seeing what's out there, but we might necessarily need it. So, All right, so, and down here in the references, SIDS and other sleep-related infant deaths, expansion of recommendations for a safe sleeping environment. It has a retrieve date. Let's click on it, because that doesn't give me an author or a journal. Oh, look at this, Pediatrics, November 2011, volume 128. It's got the abstract. It's not going to give me the whole article right here, but we can keep track of that author and that title, and we can look in the library database. So there's in Wikipedia. We just don't want to cite the Wikipedia article on co-sleeping.
So with something where it won't give you the whole article, if you've got the information about it, we can pull it up here in the library?
Mostly. So I will show you how to do that in just a minute.
Okay.
And I'll also show you what to do if you find an article and we don't have access to it. We can usually get it for you. So we have this thing called interlibrary loan. It's the best thing ever. If we have a book that another library wants, we can send it to them. So we have like this whole network of libraries and we share resources. So if we don't have it, we can place a request and we'll find a library that has it, and they'll scan it and send it to us as a PDF, and we'll email it to you.
Awesome.
Super helpful, because to buy them is like $200.
Oh yeah, don't ever if you're like searching on Google or you're at home and you're on Wikipedia, please don't ever pay for an article, because we have all kinds of tips and tricks where we can get research for you. So you want to go through us first. When we start having issues with trying to get stuff, it's like if you're working on your PhD and you need like a really specific recent study that only Harvard Medical School has. Then you might run into some costs and things, but I'm like 98% sure get any research that you need from another library. So please don't ever pay for an article. Just contact us and we can help you find it. All right? Okay, so let's think. We have our article on different cultures. Over here, I'm just going to give just one more example on how we could kind of do this little concept map bubble thing here. So we could do like a bassinet, bedside sleepers, and these are Western products for the most part. We can think about SIDS, safety, prenatal development. You can think about attachment. So we can think about a list of cultures that tend to co-sleep based on this article. We had, let's just take for example, well I really want to focus on Latin American cultures. We could put that, we could also start listing different countries, okay? We could look at maybe immigrants or people who are new to the country. So you can really go many different directions. Does that make sense? All right, it's down here under number 4. We're gonna think of keywords. So we're gonna try to group these together. So I might add just a few more on here. This Wikipedia article is pretty sweet. I'm seeing like other articles that are linked. They're linked down here to the National Center for Health Statistics. That would be interesting to use.
You're making me think I need to always go to Wikipedia now.
I know.
It's a good stepping off
It can be
point.
useful, and sometimes you'll have a miss and you'll be like, this is not a good article, and you tweet one that
Think
that's
about a specific culture.
pretty good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
we've got a
just
couple
gonna
different
go-
comparatives going on back here.
Okay, awesome. So now what I'm going to do when we look on keyword is if I have someone volunteer as tribute, okay? Because let me tell you the perk of me doing one of your examples up here. The perk of me doing one of your examples is we're going to actually use these keywords and we're going to actually find some research. So you would be leaving this class already with some research in your pocket. So if we use your example, you'll be in kind of a sweet spot. Okay. So what's your, huh?
Will volunteer.
Okay.
Distribute.
Awesome.
Use.
Hitler and drug use. Oh, wow. That's in the middle of your concept club, right?
That would be really
Do you have like a couple
I love elementary stuff.
He was addicted to a lot of things.
Like infancy and
Well,
stuff.
it affected an entire culture.
Okay.
Okay, I was thinking him specifically, not his
Right.
greater
Like,
event.
Okay.
his,
We're gonna go
I
with
guess his
All right,
journey
so what are some of the things you've had?
whole decade or more.
His mental health.
Mental.
That would be a really interesting topic.
What are some different, do you have any different phrases for mental
Grandiosity?
health? Well, what, did y'all put anything else under mental health?
We haven't thought of different words yet.
What about psychiatric? Addiction?
Addiction is one of our words.
Okay.
Would grandiosity be a mental health thing?
I don't know if would it be a mental health thing or would that be like a characteristics?
I missed it. What was the term?
Grandiosity.
Grandiosity? I mean, I guess it would be a characteristic. I mean, sure, put it on there. I bet we could
Okay.
find something.
Grandiosity.
I think it's definitely relevant.
I know that's a function of like bipolar and
His
stuff.
childhood.
Childhood.
What his
Alright.
parents were like.
Okay, parents. Maybe we might put family structure under that,
Yeah.
possibly. You just put family and I'm just gonna put structure down here too. Because we could just search on family and then if we find too much, we can do structure.
His relationships that he had.
Relationships. And since this isn't family, are we talking romantic, friendship? Okay.
Even professional relationships would fall under that, right?
Professional. And we're gonna go, let's see, friendship. Okay. Is there anything else we might wanna put? Do we have any like, other historical words, like do we wanna put, he did commit suicide, so I'm gonna put that under mental health.
I don't know how you would keyword this, but like the effect of World War I on his rise,
Okay.
because he was still, you know,
Ego. That's
doing the
good.
drug thing at
Put
that point, wasn't he?
this over here. Let's do World War I. We'll do post World War I just to kind of sum up what was going on in Germany after World War I.
His leadership style.
Leadership style.
Brilliant.
What was his
He was in prison for a while too, so
Isn't that when he wrote Mein Kampf? Is in
Mhm.
prison? Okay.
we might want to look at
Guys.
Yeah.
moral
Yeah.
development.
He was also creative mind. He used to paint all the time. His paintings are actually quite beautiful, even though he was a horrible person.
Okay. Creativity. I'm gonna put that up here. Now we're not going to use all of these things because we're not, writing a book. We're doing one project.
just-
But this really, to me, when I start to do something like this, like when you said Hitler and drug use, I was like, okay, let's see if we're gonna find anything in here. Thinking mental health, psychiatric well-being, addiction, suicide, World War II, World War I, moral development, his childhood, his family structure. It kind of gets the brain juices going, so we can think about this topic. When we
So
do the
basically
research
just
phase.
spitballing ideas until something hits.
Yeah, and you'll start to see connections, like his relationships probably impacted a lot by his parents and family structure. His mental health, I don't know, there might be some linkage there. There might be some linkage between moral development and parents. His childhood, you'll start to see how all these things crisscross and intersect. So when we go to come up with terms to search, we're not just going Hitler drug use, and then how do I piece all these things together? So it's kind of like your brain warm up. Okay. Things, for the most part, your stuff, like 99.9% of the time, is going to be professional, vetted, scholarly.
Alright, can you guys listen up? She's gonna go over this.
Okay, so we're gonna go, this is gonna be helpful for you guys. Okay, and we kind of did this as we were looking at the Wikipedia article, and when I clicked on that awesome article that was just sitting right there waiting for us. Okay, so this is a little evaluation. You don't need to do one for all of your sources. This is just to get you thinking about what it means to find an authoritative source, what it means to find a good source. So it's why we just don't cite Joe's blog on sleep or Amanda's thoughts on how coffee consumption makes my life better. That's biased.
No,
I'm
it's
not a
so
doctor,
true.
but I feel very strongly
Can
about
we
it.
cite something like that if we are explicitly stating that we're looking for personal experiences?
That I would talk to your instructor about, and
Okay.
just know it won't count as your 5
Yeah.
sources.
Okay.
It won't count if you're listing facts, because it says
Okay.
you need to list a couple facts. That wouldn't count as one of your facts.
Okay.
Okay.
But
So
if we're still getting information from that, she said, you know,
if
cite
if
as
your
much as
instructor
possible.
approves it, anything you put in there that's someone else's idea, you want to cite. So if you find my blog making my life better, and you're wanting like just my personal take on it, you would cite me. I'd go in your works cited page. But just know, even if it's on your citation page, that doesn't mean, oh, I've got 5 citations here, I'm good.
Okay.
So when she says an academic article, when we're talking about facts, we're talking about authoritative sources. So I'm going to use this checklist very quickly, because this is one of those things that until you start really getting in there and doing your research, you're going to be like, I can't remember what those things I was supposed to look for to find a good source. So this will be on your guide, and you call me, you can sit with me, I'll help you look at your sources and decide if they're a good fit. Okay, so currency, thing in a historical context, date might not be as important. You're talking about technology, you might have to pull some articles on AOL. Those would be older possibly. But if you want to talk about the latest technology, you'd be looking at the date for 2019. What are the new things? All right. So what I like to do is I like to think about the date of the publications. Do I need something contemporary? Do I need something near an event? Like, let's say there was a news article about Hitler's drug use. I might be able to use that. It would not count an academic article, but it could possibly have some facts in there that we could verify. It would give you some historical context. So it's going to depend a lot on your topic, and y'all are doing lots of broad topics. If we're talking about co-sleeping and the dangers associated with it, am I going to use an article from 1998?
No, man.
Right. I might want to look and see if there's something newer, because there's been more studies, there's been more innovations in how we look at sleep and different factors and things like that. So it will depend on kind of your topic. Relevance, is it suitable for your research? I might find something really cool, but it doesn't really fit in the parameters of this assignment. Okay, so I might not want to use that. Accuracy. So when we were looking at Wikipedia, and I was like, if we just had this general statement, we wouldn't use it. We would swipe left. And that's because we can't tell if it's accurate. Because I'm able to click on this citation and possibly find the article. If I was going to cite this in the paper, I would have to actually find the article. You don't ever, if you cite this and you don't actually go find the article and read it, your instructor knows. They know. They'll be able to tell. I'm going to be able to look at the citations in this academic article and see if it's accurate. See if there's also authority. Are these people in the medical field? Do they understand human development? Do they understand co-sleeping? If this didn't have the citation, I don't know. It could just be Amanda's thoughts on co-sleeping. I'm not a doctor, I don't know. And then we're also going to think about purpose. So when I was talking about Amanda's blog about coffee consumption and how it makes my life better, I'm slightly biased, a lot biased. That's my opinion, that's how I feel. I'm not an expert. I can't back that up. I, believe it or not, disagree with me. They do things like just drink water. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm not going to use that in my paper because that's just my opinion, right? That's not going to count as an authoritative article. It's not going to count as an academic article. It's not going to count as a fact, okay? It can be interesting and it can help me come up with some search terms, but that's not going to be the thing we go with. Okay, so we're going to go into the database and we're going to use some of our keywords now. But this is just a handy tool if you're looking at Wikipedia and you're looking down here in the citations, you're thinking, can I use this or not? If you find a news article that maybe links to some studies and you're wanting to know if they're legit, just kind of go back to this tool. And this is call us. We have students come in who are like, I don't know if this is a good source for my paper, if I can use it. We can help you figure that out. We like answering questions. It's our favorite thing. All right. Have any of y'all gone to the library website and done any research for any of your classes before?
Yes.
A little bit? Okay. Have y'all had librarians come to your class before?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, you have? No one else? Oh, that makes me sad. Because we're like the best guy. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you, we're going to start from the beginning. If you're on the main Chat State website, and there's multiple ways you can get to the library, but I'm going to go this way. Click on library. Your first inclination is going to be to search right here where it says search articles, books, and more. I'm going to give you a hint. One click is really great if you're looking for a book, whether it's an ebook or a print book, or you're just looking for some general knowledge. If you're looking for something really super specific and you need it from like an academic journal, you're gonna go crazy because you're gonna come up with a bunch of different stuff that may or may not work for you. So what I'm gonna recommend, and once again, ideally y'all would all have your own computer and be following along. So don't freak out if you like, I don't remember what we need to do, come see me. I'm gonna put, okay? And I'm gonna pick a good general database. And some of these I'll link on your guide. I'm gonna do academic search complete. Journal articles covering science, social sciences, and humanities. So that's gonna have some history stuff, it's gonna have some sociology stuff, it's gonna have some psychology, it's gonna have different things. So we're gonna do our search in there and we're gonna see what we get. All right, it's a roll of the dice. Okay, so let's think about Hitler. I almost need another marker board. Okay.
Does it flip around?
It does, but I kind of want to look at both. I just need the entire room.
More space.
All right. Okay, yeah, this will be my cheat sheet. Okay, so tricks when we're searching in the database. Okay. The first one, before we start searching, I'm gonna give you all these tips and tricks, and it will help. And these will also be on the guide. And if you get stuck, come see me. I'm gonna say it 90 million times because you're gonna get stuck and you're gonna get frustrated. And I don't like sitting in meetings and at my computer, so I want to hang out with students. All right. I'm gonna use the example of peanut butter and jelly. To the database. One, I don't know if I'd find very many academic articles on peanut butter and jelly. I might. If I just put peanut butter jelly, the database is going to look for the words peanut, the word butter, and the word jelly. And I will get everything that has peanut and butter and jelly as separate words. I'm just going to try it here. And I've got that song with the dancing banana stuck in my head. Okay, 119 results. It's pretty good. We got food scarcity. We got school library journal. We got how to make a peanut butter jelly and kung fu sandwich. Awesome. We got
That's
peanut butter
academic?
jelly management.
Looks like it was
We've got
scary.
ethics in web marketing. That's kind of peanut butter and rosé jelly sandwich. Intrigued. So it's all over the place. So I'm gonna show you a tip. Okay. If we want to search a phrase in peanut butter, we're gonna think of it as a phrase. We're gonna put the little quote marks around it. And that's gonna tell the database to search for these two things smushed together. So we're not gonna look for peanut and butter, it's gonna look for peanut butter. Okay? That's gonna save you some time. Because I know you think when you get hundreds and hundreds of articles, it's like, yes, there's so much, and they start digging through them, and you're like, this is nothing that I need. Jelly. I just don't want jelly. I just don't want peanut butter. I want peanut butter and jelly. Unless you're my 6-year-old who just wants a jelly sandwich, but I want peanut butter and jelly. What that's gonna do is that the and in all caps, make sure everybody can see it. I'll do like the Vanna White. Everybody can see it. All right.
And all caps.
And in all caps.
Does
Yeah.
the plus symbol work the same way?
Okay, so
It's
that's-
like,
yeah.
I use that all the time.
Yeah, it'll and that and the asterisk. So if I need to look at something about parents, you could do separate searches for parent, parents, parenting, or you can do parent and a little asterisk. And it will look for parent, parenting, parents, parentage. It will look for all of those things, so you don't have to do 90 million searches. So these are like, I have student loan debt to like learn all these things. I'm sharing.
It's like
them with
video game cheat sheet.
yeah. Okay, so these are kind of some of our tips and tricks. And like I said, if all of you had a computer, I would get all of you to practice this. But I do want you to be aware of these things, okay? This is going to help you greatly. Okay, so let's get back over here. We've got some of our tips and tricks. All right. Now, if I put Hitler drug use, what do you think is going to happen?
You'll get Hitler and drug and use.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Hitler, capital N, and I'm going to put drug use in quote marks. And we're just going to see what we get. We're going to roll the dice here. Okay. I'm also going to use, over here to the side, does anyone here use Amazon for ordering Amazon Prime?
All the time.
All the time. Okay, so this little doodad over here that's in the same place as your little Amazon, like I want the book, not the movie. I want it to be Prime so I can get it in 2 days. That's basically this right here. We're gonna want peer review because we want an academic article, not necessarily a news article or anything else. Oh, I didn't get any results. But this is important to know, okay? I think it's good for you to see that it doesn't always work. However, it says your initial search query did not yield results. However, using smart text searching, which is basically they're trying to be more like Google, results were found based on your keywords. And there's one down here. Understanding Mad Men, a DSM-4 assessment of Adolf Hitler.
Cover the mental health aspect.
That would cover the mental health stuff. So that's something that we might be able to use. Let's see, when was the date for this? March 2007. And because this is a historical topic, could use that. Alright, so it's giving me some, even though I didn't get something that had exactly the thing I wanted, it's giving me some of my other words out here. The construction of family values and geopolitical discourse, the ongoing legacy of Adolf Hitler. Family values, Hitler, we've got that. And as you start doing your research, you're gonna wanna focus some. So we've got some good things, something specifically about his drug use. So I'm going to look up here. Where do we have drug use? Drug use.
Addiction.
We're gonna look at addiction. That might help a little bit more. Let's see if we can find anything with that. The medical casebook of Adolf Hitler.
That
It's
would
a
be interesting.
book review, it looks like. Reviews the book, The Medical Casebook of Adolf Hitler. Let's click on it. Because you know what we could do if we found a book that might work with our topic? What
Read
could
it?
we do if we didn't have that book here?
Called in?
Yeah, we could interlibrary loan that. Okay, I'm gonna look at the review here because it does need to be academic. And it looks like this was reviewed in the British Journal of Addiction. So that tells me the book is probably of a professional nature. The medical casebook of Adolf Hitler. The interpretation of history from a medical or a psychiatric standpoint is a popular, current, and often justified development. They scrutinize Hitler's medical history and attempt to clarify the role of this aspect on his life. Okay, it has interviews. This might be something where you would want to talk to your instructor. Would this count as one of my sources? I don't know that it would. Possibly. Possibly. The one really cool thing is if you find an article that or a book that kind of works but not quite, look at their works cited, because you can look at the resources they used in making their book or their article, and sometimes you'll find stuff that way. All right, so I didn't find much on Hitler and addiction, but that's okay because you start with an idea, and there might not be much. That just means you need to go and get your doctorate and do study and
What drug
plumb
did he
through
use?
some archives and do things like that.
What drug did he use? I mean, if you know the exact drug, maybe that would be a search.
He used several, crystal meth, cocaine, he used several stimulants. He had a doctor make his own stimulant. He injected glucose in his arm so he could hold the Nazi, whatever they call it, for hours at a time.
That's
Okay.
terrifying.
That just sounds so.
He would inject glucose
Unnecessary.
into his arm
The
so
salute?
that he could hold his arm in the Nazi salute for hours at a time.
Okay, so this sounds really interesting to me, but I'm wanting to know sources because I'm that person. Like, I'm going to know, is that an urban legend? Is it documented somewhere? Is it in an archive? Because, so what I'm doing, and this is kind of work with me on an individual basis, we might do some of this plumbing the depths of Google, but it's kind of a lot to throw at you at once. But I'm super intrigued because I want to know.
What about Google Scholar?
Yeah, let's say.
Google Scholar is good. Google Scholar may not necessarily be all linked. You can go in through our database and click Google Scholar, and it should let you know what articles we have access to, but it's not perfect. So once again, don't ever pay for an article. We have secret ways we can get things for you. I kind of, because I'm intrigued by this, but I didn't find anything in my academic search. I did a site:/.edu search, and what that does is when you put a site:/.edu, it looks at educational resources. If I were to do .gov, it would look at government documents and government websites. So that means I get less of the crap, the blogs and the personal opinions.
Academic resource.
Right.
So, and there's several in here talking about the specific drugs that he's talking about. So.
Right. So we've got When the Leader is Ill or Addicted to Cocaine, Meth, or Steroids from Yale. Okay, this is Yale School of Medicine. That's legit. I'm gonna do Control F to find Hitler. I should be able to spell it, that would help. Okay, here we go. He was a good patient. Hitler's drug use was of epic proportion. He used cocaine. So even though I was like, I don't know, dude, that sounds intense. I didn't hear about that in history class. I got a source, so like my nerdy self is like totally satisfied and completely intrigued now.
The first book on the link on Google,
Me
the book
either.
Blitz, was a physician's personal book that he wrote when he met Hitler.
Oh, cool. That's really
And he
cool.
talks about how he was shaking constantly. He had track marks in both arms. He was slumped over and he drooled a lot.
I
Wow.
cannot believe I
I
did not
super
know
Why don't they
this until
teach
tonight.
us
This
this
is
fun stuff
why-
in school?
This is why I love being a librarian, because every time one of you comes in here with a topic, I get to learn stuff. Like, I'm gonna rock Jeopardy so hard one day. I'm just gonna be, and I will thank all of you. I'm just gonna be great.
Shout out to all my chat
Shout out to all the Chat State students that let me
And that's why
learn
he was
about all
really
kinds
good
of
at
weird things.
propaganda, because you wouldn't have no idea that any of this went on.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
crazy.
So Yale School of Medicine. That's something we can use. I'm just gonna look. Blitzed.
That's the book. we
That's
were
the
talking
book.
about, Yeah.
So maybe we can use that.
Very cool. There's the
And then
assessment again.
There's
DSM
the
for
assessment.
assessment again, that would be a good one.
A short history of drug policy. Looks like it might have something interesting about Hitler. So we can find stuff because it's from universities, it's from academic academic resources. We can use that. But like I said, if you're in Google and you find it and it says you need to pay for it, come talk to us. You can also go to the main library website here. Let's find one of these articles. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. That one is Digital Commons. If you see something that says Digital Commons, that's where a university has usually made their research. So that's always good. If you see that, it's a good sign. But I'm going to try to find an article that we don't have access to, so we can look for it to see if. Get it on there. Okay, let's go. I don't want to get too in the weeds, but I just want to show you if we don't have it, what you would do. So let's just use this blitzed book. We'll look for the book instead of for the. So I know there's this book, Blitzed, about Hitler. Let's just see if we have it. I'm gonna go over here to my awesome, kind of like Amazon. They're called limiters because it's limiting, because we don't want to go through 224 pages just to see if we have this book. Okay, so I'm gonna go to books. We don't have it. We need to get it because now I'm super intrigued. So what am I gonna do, guys?
Come to the library and talk to the goddesses sitting in the front desk.
Exactly. So I'm gonna go over here. It's on the main library page. Click students, where you can really get to this from anywhere. From any of those. Request a book or article. All you're gonna do is click on this and put in the information. As much as you have, like the title, the author. You're gonna put in your information so we can contact you. And then it goes to Deborah, who's amazing, and she will find the book for you. So the library didn't have it, but we can get it for you. Okay? So you would do that, huh?
Oh,
So you would do that with books, you can do that with articles. The article form asks for a little more information, like if you have the volume and things like that, that's super helpful. Complete the form. So we'll do that. If you're reading one of your articles that you find and they keep citing the same person, I'm reading an article about the joys of coffee consumption by the National Coffee Everywhere. And there's a coffee expert that keeps coming up, and it's like, Amanda Roper says. I might want to look at that Works Cited page and find whatever article Amanda Roper wrote and see if I can find it. If I didn't have it, I could just fill out one of these forms and get the research and get my article. Okay? So this is a lot. We did a lot.
Yeah.
And y'all weren't really able to follow along, so you're gonna want to come see me and help me prepare for like my Jeopardy domination one day.
But hopefully it is,
Yeah.
right? So it sounds, when I walked around, it looks like a lot of people do. So
Right.
it was amazing. They got a lot of information, and now they know how to do this wonderful stuff. And all
Right.
these resources here. Do you guys think it was helpful?
Mhm.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions right off the bat?
And this mapping it out and in that worksheet, that's ideal. Looking for the research.
Yeah, it really helps get the brain juices
I
going.
love this.
Brain juices.
It's just, sometimes, if you get overwhelmed and it gets later in the semester and you're tired, you have other courses, it can feel like, I can't find anything.
And with this project,
Pause.
Amanda, they can choose to either do a PowerPoint or they can choose. It's completely up to them.
Okay, that's
So,
awesome. And y'all are gonna do the Student Research Symposium?
I'm hoping.
I hope so.
A lot of great topics. It'll be really great. So December, the posters, presenting some of this research would be ideal.
Right.
So Amanda teaches some of the workshops, right? So you'll be teaching the
Yeah, I'll be
abstract.
helping with those. Yeah.
So, and I'll make sure you guys are aware of when those are.
Mhm.
So.
And like I said, come see me. We'll sit down. We'll work on it. If you get stuck at any point, keywords, can't find stuff,
That's pretty.
find too much stuff and you're overwhelmed, come see me. All right?
Sticker.